Good job.
Welcome back to Coltrane Davis Music Channel. We are at the Nebraska Zoo, and they are training the animals because in the wild the monkeys are using their hands to grasp on things, so now it's just an enrichment activities to assimilate the conditions of the wild. The monkeys here are pretty active.
Keegan, are you gonna paint? Yeah, good job. Good job, Keegan. Okay. Hey, you gotta hold it. Good job, Keegan.
So they're trying to keep the animals active.
I know, Nikki, you don't like getting your tail dirty. You wanna touch the canvas?
So on the canvas, as blurred by the sun rays, there are different colors
Okay, good job.
for the monkey to be
One last one.
responding to.
I know, just a minute. You gotta wait your turn.
Wait, good.
It's really interesting. This monkey's right here. I don't know if he's trying to do his own thing. He's running back and forth here.
Good job, Paint. Good job.
With a great spot on it.
Good job.
What kind of monkeys are these?
These are spider monkeys.
Oh, spider
these
monkeys.
Ones are native to South America. These are considered a New World primate. They have a prehensile tail, which means that they can grip things with their tail. And if you notice on the back part of their tail, they actually don't have any hair. And that's because in the wild, in the jungle, they would be up in the treetops where it's really, really wet. And so if they had hair, they're less likely to be able to grip onto things. And so they could potentially fall. So they basically adapted to not have any hair on their tail. As you can see right here as she's grabbing, they have no hair there so that she can grip onto things. And they're very good with their tails. They can reach a long distance, a lot longer out than just their arms. So they use their tail for a lot of different things. Cedra is the most efficient at using her tail. Keegan is more about brute force.
So you feed them grapes right now, right? They
So
basically.
this is a form of enrichment. So they do get grapes in their diet, but this interaction with the keeper isn't something that they get every single day with painting. This is just something that we do once in a great while. It's just something different for them.
At some point, do these monkeys get released into the wild?
So these ones were all born in captivity, and so they would not know how to survive in the wild. Plus, they don't have a fear of humans.
Okay.
These ones were all hand raised from infants. Their moms weren't taking care of them, so they had to hand raise them, and so they would not know how to survive in the wild.
Okay.
In the wild, they have special dietary requirements, and they learn from their moms on what foods to eat. So as they're growing, their mom would be sharing some of the food that she would be eating so that they learn what foods are okay for them to eat in the wild.
So typically for the animals that with the goal of return to the wild, you want a minimal interaction with humans, right?
Right.
You want them to be scared or afraid or shy of humans.
Yeah, reluctant to come up. We don't want them to attribute humans to food because we don't want them to go up to a group of humans in the wild to try to get food. And that's unfortunately what happened with our brother bears that we have here. They were wild born. Their mom was actually shot by a poacher, and they were old enough to where they might have been okay, but people started feeding them food from their cars. And so now they attribute people to providing food, and so they had no fear of humans anymore, and they were willing to go up to people, which is okay when they're cubs, but when they get to be a 1,200-pound bear, it's less okay.
Yeah, could be potentially dangerous.
So he's very protective of his girls. So if notice he's trying to put his body in between her and the fence. He's basically saying, these are my girls, you can't have them. So he's trying to get her to back up away from the fence because they're his girls.
You mean his partner, right?
So he lives with, we have one male and then 3 females. And Keegan is very, very protective of his girls. Plus he's also a beggar. Yeah,
so do they breed? I guess they do breed in a cage too, right?
Well, he is fixed, so he can't have any babies. but they could potentially if we would get a male that was
That's more
attached.
fertile,
But-
yeah.
Yep, they're extremely strong. They can hold on just by their tail. So if you watch while they're climbing, they'll always be holding on by 2 digits, their hand and their tail, or their foot and their hand, and then they'll move that tail around so that if they would never fall, because they can hold on just by their foot or just by their hand, their whole body weight. So if you imagine if you were able to grip onto things with your toes and hang upside down just by your toes, your toes would be pretty strong. So their toes have to be pretty strong. So if you look at their hand too, they only have 4 fingers. They don't have thumbs. But on their feet, they have a big toe that's kind of spread out. So they use their big toe to help grip onto things as well. If they have to open things, though, they usually use their tail.
These monkeys are more active than the chimpanzees or something?
Well, these ones are active because I'm providing them food right now. Chimps, we have a pretty stable group, so they're pretty quiet.
Yeah.
In the wild, the chimps would be probably as active as spider monkeys, but this group we have is a pretty quiet group of chimps, and the spider monkeys are just more entertained by people, so they're a little more interactive.
And how often do you interact with them?
So we work with them every single day.
Okay.
But like this form of enrichment would be, once or twice a month. This particular kind, there's other enrichments as well where this morning we put lettuce on top of the exhibit, and as you can see, they got all the lettuce down, and that's to encourage climbing and brachiating. So all of the enrichment that we provide is to encourage natural behaviors.
Okay.
So they get, at a minimum, 2 forms of enrichment. This is actually their 3rd enrichment of the day. And some of our other animals, like the chimps, get a minimum of 3, if not 4 or 5 forms of enrichment every day.
Typically, the monkeys are pretty social. Most of the animals are social animals, but the monkeys are kind of very social.
Primates are an extremely social kind of animal, and so they live in family groups. The one exception is Scooty, the spider monkey, and she's in the back enclosure. She was a former pet, and so she had never been in with other spider monkeys, so she does not know how to live with them, and she doesn't like to be touched. And as you can see, Keegan likes to put his hands on the girls, and so it scared her every time that she was in there. So she gets her own little enclosure in the back. She can still socialize with them. She always has visual contact with them, but she's just a lot happier having her own little enclosure.
So especially for the pet monkeys that are, put in a cage with these other animals and that are not particularly as social, is there a way to screen to make sure they're not like depressed or emotionally withdrawn or anything like that?
So a lot of it is you're watching their food intake. Animals that are having problems adjusting, they won't eat or they won't drink, and you can just watch their social cues as well. They still have facial expressions, much like other ones. So the more that you work with them, the more you understand their social dynamics. And she's been here for a number of years, and she has adjusted extremely well. And she gets extra spoiling from the keepers that work with her here at the zoo.
And you have like emotional treatment for monkeys or animals that are withdrawn or depressed or something?
So that's what the enrichment is supposed to help with. It's encourage natural behaviors to get their mind active on various tasks throughout the day. So that's why we do enrichment, is to help alleviate any possible signs of stress in the animals. Plus, like I said, we as keepers, because we've worked with them for so long, we know their social cues. And so we actually have a pretty happy group of primates here at the zoo.
But typically there are no medication managements, right? Mostly just behavioral.
They can do medication management with primates, but it's kind of as a last resort where they would want to do that.
Yeah.
None of ours are on a medication management for any kind of depression. They're actually really well adjusted.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yep. Well, I got some more areas to do. Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
So enjoy the rest of your visit.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much. All right, thanks for checking out Coltrane Davis Music Channel. Tune in to the next upload. We are at the zoo, so there's going to be a lot of video footages of the animals in the zoo. All right, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.